Hey, welcome back to Driver 88. We absolutely love car collections on this channel, and today we have a long-term friend of the channel, Jackie, who I've met through track days and car club drive days, and she's going to tell us a little bit about her car collection and what it means essentially to be a car enthusiast. So these three behind me, we're going to have a look at. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started.
Hi, I'm Jackie. Welcome to my garage. Nick and Tom want me to tell you a little bit about my cars. I love cars, I guess. That's probably stating the obvious. This is my car collection, my Aston, Lotus and Porsche. So as I said, Nick and Tom just wanted me to have a chat about the cars that I've got. And so I guess I'll start with the Lotus, because the Lotus really is, I guess it's my baby. This is my daily car that I use to go to work, go to the supermarket, all of that. I first got a Lotus Elise in 2013, and I traded that when it hit 100,000 Ks. And so I got this one in 2018. This is a 2015 Lotus Elise 220 Cup. This one's about to hit 95,000 Ks very soon, but I probably won't trade this one in because, as some of you know, Lotus has stopped making the Elise and the Exige. They only just released the final edition last year, so I think I want to keep this one until I die, I reckon. Apart from taking it on the track, I've got so many good stories and so many good experiences with this car. And for those of you know how cars can really bring joy to people, I recently had this one experience with this guy at work. So I work in a hospital, and I met this guy who's probably unfortunately not got a lot of time left to live, and he'd been in hospital for weeks and weeks. I was meant to pop in and see him that day, but when I went to see him, he wasn't actually there at his bed. Whatever, I finished work for the day. I wandered down to the car park, and I saw him and his son just next to the car. He was in a wheelchair and his son was there, and I said, I've been looking for you all day. He said, well, you know, Dad was just sick of being in the wards all day, and he's been in the wards for weeks, and he just wanted to come for a walk. And then he saw your car, and he was like, I've just got to go and see this car. And he loves it. And he said, do you mind if we take a photo with your car? And I said, of course. He said, I just want to remember this moment, because I haven't seen Dad smile for weeks and weeks, and this is the first time I've seen him crack a smile. So that was really sweet. That was really nice. The other really good story with this car is I started on the track with almost next to no, well, literally no experience. I didn't know what I was doing. And this helmet, which is a pretty cool helmet, was given to me by one of the guys on the track for my birthday. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's got this really cool visor as well. That really helps for when you get sun glare. So that's this one. Let's talk about the GT4 a little bit. So actually, before the 981, we had a 987 Cayman R, and that was our first Porsche, and that was pretty cool. We traded it in when Porsche released the GT4. We picked this one up in 2016, and this was meant to be the last manual flat six naturally aspirated car. We take this one to the track as well, and you may or may not see that it's a little bit dirty because it's been to the track recently and is going back to Sandown next Friday. And the brilliant thing about this car is it's so incredibly precise. It's such a good car on the track for really just looking after the driver and covering up for the driver's mistakes. This is a manual gearbox. None of the cars are actually automatic cars, but the GT4 RS, which is coming, is in a PDK, and I guess we'll see how that performs after years and years of driving this. So yeah, so this is the other track car. And then finally, we have the Red Bull Edition Aston Martin V8 Vantage. It goes pretty well in a straight line, but we really use this as the sort of GT car, weekend drives and things like that. This was the car that they used in the 2017 GP. So this car's actually been driven by Christian Horner and Daniel Ricciardo. And if there's time, Tom might actually show you that Daniel Ricciardo's signed the engine bay of this car. So it's pretty cool. And this car's in a manual transmission as well. And if you've ever heard the engine note of an Aston Martin in first gear, it's probably the sweetest engine note out of all the three of them. You can see the trim on the car is all in the Red Bull Racing livery, so the reds and the yellows, and lots of additional carbon fiber for shits and giggles.
One thing you may not know, this 981 model still has a 3.8 litre, so the previous generation. These things have gone up in value so much. So I think they were like 160, somewhere around there, brand new. And now they're trading for like 220, like 6 years later, which is pretty crazy. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this 3.8 litre sounds very, very different than the 4 litre in the 718, whereas this is a bit louder and more raspier and more raw. I think a lot of people drove the 718 GT4 and they found it to be not as exciting or raw as this car. So pretty cool car to keep, gets used properly like the other two as well. Interior, you'll notice Jackie and Renil have just put in this really nice tartan inserts, and it just pops with the carbon kick plates there. Super nice car, really, really like this one. And then of course, adding to this, Jackie and Renil have a GT4 RS on order. They've just confirmed, same dealership that I go to, Doncaster, they've just confirmed an Arctic grey car via Sark Pack. And Renil was wondering whether to sell this or not, and I think they won't, because those two cars are just very, very different experiences from manual to PDK. Yeah, if you could be in the lucky position to keep both, I would do so. That sounds really good.
The nicest engine.
Super nice. There's not many V8s that sound like that at the moment. Not that I could think of. Obviously this Vantage now has been superseded by a twin turbo V8. This one, Daniel Ricciardo signed as well. Now he's back with Red Bull, so it has like extra. Hopefully, imagine if Ricciardo gets a seat.
I did that. I made it happen.
Yeah, imagine if Ricciardo gets a seat again, and then you've got like one of the last NA Aston Martins with his signature. That would be cool. That would be a bit of a fairy tale story. Super nice interior here, the red stitching, carbon. I can't say I have much experience with this gen Vantage. Yeah, what else can you tell me about it?
Well, a lot of these Vantages have these this trim called the piano black.
Yeah.
And
that can be a little bit annoying.
It's a bit annoying because it leaves lots of fingerprints on it.
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
can see we don't have the piano black trim. We've got carbon fiber.
Yeah, like a satin carbon fiber, which looks really nice.
Brilliant.
With the red accents as well. How do you find the gearbox compared to the other two? Given there's 3 different manual gearboxes, how would you...
I only want to say nice things about it.
You only want to say this manual gearbox not as nice to actuate as the other two?
So I don't know if you know, but Colin Chapman from Lotus said that the ideal distance between the gear knob and the steering wheel should be a handspan.
A handspan?
That's not a handspan.
It's not too far off.
Are you saying my hands are small? So it's not the car, it's the driver.
Yeah, there's only so much we can do to suit all people. But how do you feel like the actuation though compared to the other two? Because you've told me, I think in the past, the Cayman's probably the most perfect shift.
It is. It is the most perfect shift.
But this one, just a bit, is it like a heavier clutch than the other two?
It is definitely a heavier clutch. And the British cars, they're all handmade, right? They pride themselves on being handmade.
Handmade,
so
yeah.
There's just slight inconsistencies from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's fine. It's got those really nice handrests.
Yeah.
So I think I mentioned it earlier, we use this car mostly as a GT. can sit quite comfortably and cruise.
Yeah.
We don't use this car as a track car, so that sort of precision with the gear changing isn't really.
It doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. You know, like in the Porsche, when you're taking it down the straight at Phillip Island, you're going into turn 1. You really want to get that downshift correct, otherwise you might die.
Oh, well, there's a lot of runoff at turn 1 at Phillip Island. That's all right. You could go play some golf or something.
That's a consolation, isn't it? Good.
Yeah, I can just tell it's a super nice GT car. The new Vantage kind of loses a bit of the Aston soul, I think.
And I think the design note of this generation of Astons is my favourite. So the Vantage, the Barrage, the Vanquish.
Yeah.
That particular generation, that design note is my favourite. M is my favourite, discounting the DB5s, DB4s, and
all the classics.
That sort of generation of Aston Martins. But
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So
it's so comfortable.
Yeah. It's comfortable enough. You can tell that it's still relatively stiffly sprung, being this sort of special edition sort of thing. But we just saved ourselves a front splitter. But yeah, very, very nice car. Now you filled up all your car spaces. You were saying you have the RS. You have the RS coming. So just
I didn't say I have the RS coming.
Oh, someone else did. Brindle said.
I may have implied that we have the RS coming, but until the car is actually ours, I'm not going to believe it.
Believe that it's yours. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But does that mean you're going to give up one, or are we going to buy a new car space?
This what people call 0.5 wheel problems, isn't it?
Yes, or 0.1 problems, I guess.
It's a little bit hard to know because we're sort of wedded to the idea of the manual cars.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to give up one.
Yeah, and as Nick mentioned before, let's go to the next one. The Porsche, the GT4 gearbox is really such a fantastic gearbox.
Yeah.
And actually, Waltz, that car is a really good track car. It probably hits the middle mark of being a great road car and a track car as well.
I think so too, yeah.
Whereas, I said I'd daily the Lotus, and most people think I'm mad because that's not.
But you fit in it.
Known, yes, well, but it's not known to be a particularly good road car. It's stiff, and the interior's bare as all get out.
Yeah.
You've got no Bluetooth, none of your sort of.
The Lotus is a lifestyle car, though. I think you know what you sign up for when you buy a Lotus. That's why I think it's easier to do with when you know what you're in for. You're not getting having expectations that aren't met.
No.
So, yeah.
That's all true, but I guess I guess the point that I was getting to with that is all our cars are really designed for driving.
Yeah.
And the GT4, the 981 GT4 hits that really nice mark between a track car and a road car, and the GT4 RS, for all the reviews that I've seen,
it's a track focus car.
It's not such an ideal
car. I just said that before. You could have both and be quite happy because they fill different gaps. Yeah.
But by the same token, I have other road cars, right?
Other road cars. There's one more road car. Have we filmed it yet?
We did not film the RSQ3.
All right.
No.
We'll maybe film that quickly in 2 seconds.
But yeah, it's hard to think about letting go of that the 981 GT4 just because of I guess where it occupies the niche that it occupies in the Porsche mark. Yeah, it's hard to let it go. Right. I don't know.
So in other words, we're getting more car parks. It's all good.
We'll see.
All right, let's have a look at the daily now. So to top things off, the most sensible car in the collection, the RSQ3. Great sounding 5-cylinder. Love these cars. Let us know if there is another car collection that you would like us to film. Here at Driver 88, we love doing this. Please subscribe, like the video, and we shall see you next time. See you guys.